Nothing grabs me by the nostalgia gland quite like 90s Warhammer miniatures, so imagine my disappointment when Games Workshop brought back my childhood Warhammer fantasy army, the Warriors of Chaos, or Chaos Warriors as they were back then, and they gave us mostly fairly modern plastics. Modern for me would be anything from around the year 2000 onwards, and that's no good. But that wasn't going to deter me, so I decided I wanted to create a vintage Warriors of Chaos army using only miniatures from 1998 or earlier, which would allow me to use the same era of models I had in my army as a child. The Chaos Warriors were my first fully painted Warhammer army in 1998, but sadly I sold them years ago. I'm forced to live in the shadow of regret, but perhaps I could ease my suffering now in adulthood. Two questions immediately came to mind: where would I find the models, and how would I be able to afford them? For the financial end of the puzzle, I decided now was the time to cash in on various miniatures I had lying around waiting for a rainy day. Anything unpainted, unbuilt, some even in their original packaging, were all fair game for eBay, so that raised some cash. Next, identifying which specific miniatures I wanted and where to find them. The two main things I really wanted for this army were Dragon Ogres, 90s metal ones to be precise, not the horrible modern plastic ones, and Egrim van Horstman with his two-headed dragon. The 90s Warhammer dragons have always been aspirational to me, and back in the day I was never able to paint one. Dragon Ogres from that particular era are also possibly my favourite miniatures of all time, so I've got to have some of those. Before I tackled the minefield of eBay purchasing, I asked around in my local Old World WhatsApp group to see if anyone had anything on my list they were looking to sell. Someone got back to me and told me they would just send me Egrim van Horstman from their neglected pile of shame, and the only reward they required would be seeing it being used on the table fully painted. On my recent livestream breaking down the games from my first tournament with Chaos, Ginger Steve revealed to the world that he was the one who sent it to me, so thank you very much to Steve. As you can see, there was some work to be done on the model, but let's have a look at what else I was able to find for reasonable prices on eBay. First of all, I found a nice lot of single pose mid-90s Chaos Warriors. They'll just need some metal command models to complete the unit. These guys were actually on the way out when I started my original army, but my plan is to eventually have a unit of the 1998 multi-part ones as well. The lot also came with a single Hero Quest Chaos Warrior, which gave me an idea. The evil wizard from Hero Quest to become my Chaos Sorcerer, not too expensive on eBay. Next, Dragon Ogres. I found one on Facebook Marketplace for within the price range I was willing to pay, so I messaged the seller and asked if he happened to have any more. Turns out he had 3 more, and I was able to buy all of them. Nice. This was followed by the eBay purchase of 2 others, already painted, to bring me to a nice round 6. Another miniature I always wanted to own was the late 90s Bloodthirster, the one with the slightly more humanoid face. This one only existed for a short while, seemingly, before being replaced by the more dog-faced version, but I was able to find the one I wanted on eBay for a reasonable price, so now we have a potential Demon Prince. Next up, I found an eBay seller with several lots of classic Chaos Warriors from the exact era I was looking for, so I bought everything he had. You can see he threw in some extra bits as well. So we've got a box of Chaos Knights with sealed blister packs of components inside and the original paper banner. Plus 2 untouched Chaos Chariots, still also in the original packaging. I feel like I got a pretty good deal on these, buying them all together. Then I was able to find some metal special characters as well from my era. So we've got Acold Hellbrass, famous for coming back to life after he dies in-game, and the original Archaean, who you will see a little bit later. Paint stripping. So all the metal went straight into a tub of BioStrip, which I've never used before, so I didn't know how it was going to turn out, left it in for an hour, took an old toothbrush to them, and look how they came out. Almost brand new old models ready to paint. At this stage I didn't have a particular army list in mind yet, so I wasn't sure what to prioritise first. Counterpoint, Dragon Ogres. So even if it turned out I wouldn't be able to use all 6 of them, I was still going to get them done first. And then I knew, because I'd want to play the army as soon as possible, I would also need some core units, so standard Chaos Warriors would do the job there. I managed to pick up some nice metal command models on eBay as well. but I didn't want to cut the tabs off their feet, so I decided to actually cut into the bases instead. I got all my bases in one big order from Eve Model, who I'd never heard of, but they had all the base sizes that I needed in the authentic GW style. The Chaos Champion, who'll be leading the unit of Chaos Warriors, was from a trade with Rem. He got a couple of dwarf engineers in the deal. So this is now the oldest model in the army, 1987. Since there's a lot of metal here, I knew I'd be doing a lot of pinning. The Dragon Ogres are pinned to their bases through the feet, and also the arms are pinned to the bodies. Everybody gets some base texture. I didn't want to get too fancy with the bases. I wanted a little bit of the old school simplicity, but with more modern colours, so you'll see when we get to that stage. When it came to colour scheme, first thing I decided on, yellow. I've been painting quite a bit of it lately and enjoying it a lot. I use yellow contrast over white, then multiple highlights on top of that. Army Painter Moon Dust is a personal favourite at the moment for those final highlights. I also went for diverse skin tones on the ogre part of the model to add some variety since they're all yellow underneath. I chose orange for the scales because this is me we're talking about here, and several different metals for the armour and weapons. They took a long time, but I was very pleased with how they turned out. Normally, I'd race straight to Facebook at this stage and start posting pictures of my creations instantly, but I wanted the extra motivation to finish a playable army first, so I denied myself the immediate satisfaction of all those social media thumbs up. I didn't want to relax until the army was ready to play. I decided to do the main chore of the army next, the Chaos Warriors. They're quite simple, but there's also 27 of them. They should be pretty quick to paint though. A couple of different silvers and brass were the main colours here, with washing and dry brushing to come. At this point they already look pretty cool, but I also wanted to add a bit more colour to them. I decided the army's trademark yellow should come in via the gloves and the helmet horn interiors. I used red on the weapon grips and various details on the command models. Speaking of command, no banner yet, so we'll see what I have in store for that. Next, Chaos Knights, still on sprue, some parts still sealed inside blister packs, so any sealed collectors might want to look away now because this is going to be painful. This is an army for gaming after all, not sitting in a cupboard, so let's crack it open. There's the aftermath, and now we have all the pieces ready. For the bases, I decided not to cut into these ones. I just stuck down the plastic horse tabs and then worked milliput around them to create even ground. At this point, I'd found the solution to my banner conundrum on eBay. A pack of genuine 1996 Games Workshop Chaos banners. I'm even going to use one of these for the Chaos Knights rather than their own banner, since the one they came with doesn't seem to have any colour on the back, which was going to be annoying to deal with. Sprayed silver, and you can see I initially started working on Archaon at the same time. He was later put on hold as a tournament deadline approached, and I needed to focus on the units I was going to use in my list. Hence, the dragon also being prepped for action. This thing has a lot of pins in it. Most of the pieces are double pinned to each other, the feet are pinned to the base is even pinned to this that I'll be using to hold the model while painting, so this should allow me to reach difficult spots underneath without it falling off. You can see I decided not to risk paint stripping the wings after reading some horror stories of stripping plastic. I started painting this dragon with 5 days to go before the tournament, so I decided to spend 100% of my free time on it after work every day. I also skipped a few hours of sleep. Red, yellow and orange. I think it's pretty stylish and retro look, and when he was ready, he even got a giant padded box to himself for transport. I think I probably should find something smaller. So, the first 2,000 points of the army was ready for its first outing, which you can also see on the channel in the tournament report. For now, here's a brief showcase of the completed units, with more to come very soon. Ta-ta for now.